Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining our call here on Facebook, Zoom, and YouTube. And today is a very special day for two reasons. One is that Sutapa Mataji joined us just now.
Oh,
And of course, all of you. I really look forward to these sessions that we have on Friday evenings with you. It keeps me sane and away from craziness of Fridays. Um, and the second thing is that now today, and I'm missing Varshana Mataji because you'd have loved it, we are starting a new chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, right? When we started way back with chapter 1, it was COVID days. We had a little bit more leeway because I was not working for one.
everyone was
time,
home.
and everyone was home, so we had many sessions. We had a session every day. So we kind of progressed at a very fast pace, and then we started doing one verse a week. But then even still, if we do one verse a week, we still have come and reached and covered first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavad Gita is divided into 6 sections or 3 sections. There are 18 chapters of 6 and 6 and 6 like that make 18. And like they tell that if there's anything very precious, then you just don't leave it out in the open. Like if you have a diamond with you in your home, I don't, then you won't typically just leave it on the table like that, right? You will wrap it up in some nice velvet thing and then you will keep it somewhere, right? Safe. So simply anything that is precious is not kept out and exposed like that. And that is why the next 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, where we are going to talk about devotional service, which is a very, very precious and esoteric thing to understand what bhakti is. We had talked 2 weeks ago about verses bhaja, and bhaja is something at an even higher level than worship. So sometimes these words in Sanskrit do not have an equivalent in English. And that's always a problem that you have when you are translating from one language to another. A lot gets lost in the translation, the finer nuances. So these 6 chapters that we're going to cover, starting with chapter 7, are the most esoteric because they all point into Bhagavad Gita, to Bhakti Yoga. And it's not that Bhakti Yoga was not alluded to in other chapters. Like in 5th chapter, when it ended, Krishna says, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. So I am the Maheshwar. Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. That, whenever somebody understands that I am the ruler of the whole world, then you will have nice, proper Shanti. But otherwise, we try to get peace here and there, 2 different artificial means, but we don't get them, right? And then 6th chapter ended last week for us, right? And what did it end? 6th chapter was all about what?
Dhyan yoga.
Dhyan yoga, right? So it was talking about concentrating, right?
Yeah,
And then,
yoginam api sarvesham.
right. And so what did it end with? It ended on?
Mataji, can I ask the last 2 words of the last verse?
Yes, yes, please.
Yukta tamo mataha.
Yeah, so let's go and bring that up. Right?
Yeah, yukta tamo, I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
Mataha, I know that in my opinion is considered.
So let's bring it up.
Varshana Mataji is not going to join today.
That's what
she told, right?
I see Varsha, and who is Varsha? Yes. Is it our Varshana? Is it the new Varsha?
It is. Yes.
Yes, Mataji, today my iPad is not getting connected with my hearing aid. So that is why I had to attend through the phone.
Oh.
So yuktamo mataha, right? So whenever you have doubt about the meanings, you can always go open it up and see what it means. Yukta tamaha means the greatest yogi, and mataha is considered, right? So after talking in chapter number 6 about I think, hold on, this console is coming in my way. After talking about this in chapter 6 about dhyan yoga all the time, right? And then he's saying yoginam api sarvesham mat-āśrayaḥ
Atmana.
Inside, what does he do?
He's thinking of me. Thinking of me all the time.
Thinking how? Shraddha-vaN.
Shraddha-vaN bhajte mam yoga.
Right? So with faith, and then he bhaj more than worship, right? It's loving
Yeah.
relationship. So with faith, number one, that there is God, and then that he is supreme, right? So you'll have the faith. Because in chapter 5th, he had said, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He said, I am the Maheshwar, right? But then after you meditate and all that, then you will have some faith that there is God. And then you start to
Right.
okay? So notice over here in this verse that you bring, and thank you for bringing this up, is that he's saying Shraddha-vaN, right? Shraddha-vaN means one who has got Shraddha, right? One who has got faith. Okay, so let's go into any other questions from previous chapter that we talked about or studied? Everything is crystal clear? Ready for the exam? Okay, so let's go and look at today's verse. And I'm bringing it up here, 7.1. So before we go into 7.1, let us pray to pray to the Lordship and also pray to the Parampara and all our spiritual masters and all the Vaishnavas who are here, because we are launching on a new chapter. Okay. Om Ajnanatimandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahaganam Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaganam Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gopiranande Hare Hare Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Okay, so like I was saying, that chapter number 7 concluded with Krishna saying that yoginam api sarvesham madgatin antaratmata shraddha-vaN. Okay, so important thing is shraddha. You must have faith. Okay, trying to do any meditation without having faith in Krishna is useless, because those who don't have faith in Krishna will tell you that you can meditate on everything, but that's not the right thing. Krishna is our and should be our object of meditation. Okay, śrī-bhagavān uvāca mayy āsakta-manāḥ pārtha yogaṁ yuñjan mad-āśrayaḥ asaṁśayam samagram yathā jñāsyasi chṛṇu. śrī-bhagavān uvāca mayy āsakta-manāḥ pārtha yogaṁ yuñjan mad-āśrayaḥ asaṁśayam samagram yathā jñāsyasi chṛṇu. śrī-bhagavān uvāca mayy āsakta-manāḥ pārtha yogaṁ yuñjan mat-āśrayaḥ asaṁśayam samagram yathā jñāsyasi chṛṇu. śṛṇu. śrī-bhagavān uvāca, the Supreme Lord said, mayy, to me, āsakta-manāḥ, mind attached, pārtha, O son of Pṛthā, yogam, self-realization, yuñjan, practicing, mat-āśrayaḥ, in conciseness of me, Krishna conciseness, Krishna consciousness. asaṁśayam, without doubt. Samagram, completely. Mam, me. Yathā, how. Jñāsyasi, you can know. Tat, that. śṛṇu, try to hear. śrī-bhagavān, uvāca. Mayy āsakta-manāḥ pārtha. Yogaṁ yuñjan mad-āśrayaḥ. asaṁśayam samagram mam yathā jñāsyasi tat śṛṇu. So here, let's get familiar with this word. So very key items here. What is mat-āśrayaḥ?
Āśrayaḥ is a shelter
of me.
In consciousness.
In consciousness of me.
Of me. And then when you're conscious of Kṛṣṇa, you will take shelter of him. Right? But Ashta also means shelter. Okay. And what does completely mean?
Samagram.
Samagram.
Samagram. Right? Samagram. Okay. And what is when the mind is attached to something?
Asakti.
Asakti.
āsakta-manāḥ.
Āsakta-manāḥ. Right? So asakta means attached and manah means
Mind.
mind. Okay, without doubt.
Asaṁśayam.
Asaṁśayam.
Asaṁśayam, not
Yeah.
asaṁśayam. Shayam.
Asaṁśayam.
Right? Okay. So key things over here is āsakta-manāḥ, mind attached. Okay. Asaṁśayam, without doubt. Samagram, completely.
Completely.
Okay. So keep these three things in mind, and then we'll go to translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, and now hear, O son of Pṛthā, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Kṛṣṇa consciousness is fully described. Kṛṣṇa is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Kṛṣṇa, and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Kṛṣṇa are described in this chapter. Right? So 4 kinds of fortunate people. So if you are attached to Kṛṣṇa, you are among the fortunate people. So are you attached to Kṛṣṇa?
Yes.
Of course.
Of course. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Kṛṣṇa, or in other words, Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So what is Kṛṣṇa consciousness?
Who steadily concentration his mind, concentrate his mind upon Kṛṣṇa.
Is called Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Correct, for 500 points. Is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Kṛṣṇa, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. But not otherwise. It's very important. Srila Prabhupada's purport contains a lot of information. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. Okay? But to concentrate your mind on Kṛṣṇa if you want to know the absolute truth. Impersonal Brahma Jyotir, the effulgence that comes from Kṛṣṇa, or localized Paramatma realization, is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. Right? So Paramatma in the heart, or listening or realizing the impersonal, is not perfect realization of the absolute truth because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Kṛṣṇa, and everything is revealed to the person in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. In complete Kṛṣṇa consciousness, one knows that Kṛṣṇa is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubts. So what was without doubts? What was the Sanskrit for without doubts?
Asaṁśayam.
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 Right? Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahma Jyotir and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. The concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and the most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, touch śṛṇu, or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna and not from a non-devotee upstart, puffed up with academic education. In the śrī-mad-bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, is described in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto. What's the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto of śrī-mad-bhagavatam called? It's a very famous chapter.
The creation of the universe.
First chapter, 2nd chapter of the 1st canto. Divinity and divine service. Divinity and divine service, right? Get the 34 that Vaisheshika Prabhupada says, right? Memorize the 34 verses which are there, of which Srila Prabhupada is going to pick up some and talk in this purport here, right? So 2nd chapter which talks about divinity and service to the divine. And there's a divinity and divine service is the name of the chapter. Shrinvatam swakataha Krishnaha punya shravana kirtanaha hidyantaha stohya bhadrani vidhunoti sruhitsatam nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyatama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki tada rajastamo bhavaha kamo lobhadayascha ye Jeta iterana viddham sitam sattve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshayaha shiyante jasya karmani drishta evatmanishvare. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literature or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself a righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the signs of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection, right? Chidyante, hridaya grantis. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of asaṁśayaṁ, samagram, understanding the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, without any doubt and completely. Asaṁśayam means without doubts, and samagram is completely, right? So this was from Bhagavatam 1.2, verses 17 to 21 listed above. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Oh, that's it. Okay, I'll stop here. I will open up for some reflections on what you've heard, what stuck your mind. what you liked, what you didn't like, and didn't understand, have doubts about, and we'll discuss it here. So, what do you say? Students, devotees, friends, tell me. Anything that you heard, any one word that you heard.
That's to know.
That's śṛṇu. Very nice. You caught on to the right
Hear
person.
from me. Hear
Hear
from
from me.
me. Hear from either
Correct.
Kṛṣṇa or from Gita or from the authoritative representatives.
Representatives. Very good. So he said, that's śṛṇu.
Hear from me.
Hear from me. Okay. So let's do this thing then. Let's see what more can we do in devotional service other than hearing from him. So our dear Prahlad Maharaj has spoken a lot and at length on this in a subsequent canto of Śrīmad-bhagavātam, which is the 7th canto, 9th chapter, and, 2 verses together. That is verse 23 and 24. Shri Prahlad uvāca Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnuh Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Mandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhakti Bhaktischin Avalakshanaha. Sorry, I should have shown the English also to you. Kriyate Bhagvat. Let me go down here. Kriyate Bhagvatyadha Tanmanye Dhitamuttamam. So he's saying Shravanam, hearing, Kirtanam, chanting. Of whom? Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu. Smaranam, remembering. Padasevanam, serving the feet. Archanam, offering worship with Shadopachara, the 16 kinds of paraphernalia. So Archanam is deity worship. Vandanam, offering prayers. Dasyam, becoming the servant. Sakyam, becoming the best friend. Atmanivedanam, surrendering everything, whatever one has, right? So these are the 9 ways or 9 processes of devotional service, right? So who got liberated by the Shravanam process?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit Maharaj, right? Shri Vishnu Shravane Parikshita Bhavu. And then who got liberated by chanting or glorifying Krishna?
It is Shukdev Goswami.
Sukdev Goswami. Vaiyasakir Kirtane. So Vaiyasakir, because he's the son of Vyasdev. So Vaiyasakir is Sukdev Goswami by Kirtan, right? Then Smaranam, who got liberated by remembering all the time Krishna. Despite
Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlada Smarane. Okay. Then Padasevanam, by serving the feet.
The goddess Lakshmi.
Yes, correct. For 50 points. Anybody else wants to press the buzzer faster than how Mataji is going? Go for it. Archanam. Shri Vishnu Shravane Parikshita.
Prahlad Maharaj.
Archanam. Pṛthā Maharaj. Pṛthā Maharaj.
Prahlada Smarane Tadangi Bhajane Lakshmi Pṛthū Pujane. Right? Pṛthū did Archanam, which is puja. Okay, Archanam. And then Vandanam. Who did Vandana? Offering prayers. Very first, as he was going to bring
Akrur.
Dhruv Maharaj.
Akrur.
Akrura, right? Dasya, who became liberated by being a servant of Krishna, a very famous name. Servant.
Dasyam.
Bali.
Bali Maharaj.
No. He did not do any service.
Haridas Thakur.
Hanuman.
Hanuman, exactly.
Hanuman.
Right?
We can't hear you, Mataji.
Is it?
We can't hear you.
Even now?
Yes.
Now, just now
Now
only.
we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right.
Okay. Hmm.
Right. So then Dasyam and Sakyam, who became a friend?
Arjuna.
Arjun.
Arjun is Sakya. And Atmanivedanam, surrendering everything. Who did that?
That's Maharaj.
Bali,
Maharaj.
Bali
That's
Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj, right? So here in today's verse, okay, so which one is he talking about? Krishna is talking about
Smarana.
Smaranam,
Mayy,
Shravanam.
āsakta-manāḥ.
Shravanam. I meant,
That's
yeah,
śṛṇu,
Shravanam.
the very first one he's
śṛṇu.
talking about.
That's
Shravanam.
śṛṇu. Yeah.
So you hear, and hearing, we know we have got senses, and hearing is the most powerful sense that we have, right? Because when you go to sleep, right? When you go to sleep, if you're sleeping, our skin, which is one of our sense organs, you can sleep and, people can crawl over it. A snake can go over us and we will not know. Of course, we are sleeping, so eyes are closed, so eyes are gone. You're not tasting anything, mouth is closed, so tongue is also gone, right? And when you go to sleep, one portion of the house can be burning and you don't know because nose is also, not operating on full blast. So nice here. Nose is gone, tongue is gone, skin is gone, eyes is gone, right? So what else is remaining? Hearing, right?
Right.
So when you're sleeping and somebody comes and says, Varshana Mataji, and then you get up because ears are still functional, even when you're sleeping. It's very, very powerful. And there's a very nice verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13. I think it is either 22 or 23. I think it's 22 or 26. I think then it is 26. Here. Here, so they're talking about how different people can become devotees of the Lord. And in 26 verse it says, again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of that tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death just by hearing. So sometimes what happens is that people just come, and that was a
Mataji, no sound. Can't hear you, Mataji.
Yeah, it got froze.
No.
No, Mataji.
what happened? Oh, my
It says your
internet.
bandwidth is low.
Yeah,
That's why.
yeah. Cannot help it, folks.
Now it's fine.
Is it fine?
Hmm.
Yeah.
About the internet. Okay. So, yeah. So what I was saying was that I was talking about the hearing power to be extremely strong, right? And so that's why Krishna is now saying tat śṛṇu, because he knows that, he can demonstrate certain things, but what he hears, and by hearing about things, about anything, we get to know them, right? We get to know a person better. We also get attached to them. Like Rukmini. Rukmini had not seen Krishna, right? She had only heard about him. And when you hear about the glories of Krishna, then she became attached to Krishna, right? So much so that when she was being married off to somebody else whom she didn't want to marry, Shishupal or Jarasandha, I'm forgetting whom, but anyway, it was not Krishna. So then the whole episode happens there, right? So hearing is very, very powerful. And I was saying that that was the bait. That was a bait that Srila Prabhupada had laid, that he would put prasadam, tasty prasadam, samosas, gulab jamun, which some of the Americans might not have even heard about. And young boys and girls, and they used to come to eat the prasadam. And then, of course, by courtesy, you will sit down and hear also. And so it was a double-sided, double-edged sword, prasadam and shravanam. So they became purified like that, right? So here in this particular chapter, Krishna is emphasizing, right, the importance of hearing. And Srila Prabhupada in the verses there, he said, Shrunvatam swakatha Krishna, punya shravana kirtana. So when you hear the glories of Kṛṣṇa, and you make it a regular practice to hear his glories, then what happens is that whatever is dirty inside our heart, that gets cleansed. Okay? And for us to go to Kṛṣṇa, all the dirt which is there in our heart has to be cleansed. Has to be cleansed. Otherwise, we are nowhere. Right? It's a useless effort. You can do this and that, But no. So Śrīvatam Sokata Kṛṣṇa Punya Shamana Kita Hidantas Tohi Abhadra.
Mataji, again, your sound is gone.
This says that Hridaya Ganthes, all the knots that we have in our heart, and these knots of attachment that will not allow you to focus your things on Kṛṣṇa. So we have attachments. So what to material things? So what are the types of attachments that we have to material things? Give me some example of attachment in life.
Clothes, jewelry,
Car,
Jewelry.
house,
cars,
Family,
homes,
children.
Right.
children.
Can there be attachment on a subtle level? Name, fame,
Yeah.
right? Beauty, like that.
position.
Position, yeah, power, like that. So, and you see that in these days, like in the older time when people were following the Varnashram system, you see Pṛthū Maharaj, other exalted kings, Bharat Maharaj, they were young, they were very powerful kings, but they gave all that to their sons and then left with practically nothing with them and went to the forest, to the attachment, right? Less attachment there because they are pursuing a spiritual way of life. But nowadays, you see a person becomes a president, a prime minister, will run for the post another time, yet another time, right? Won't allow others to take that position. Attachment. From the scriptures, we see somebody is very attached to his position. Who is that?
Who's very
What is
attached
it?
to?
His position. And whenever he feels somebody else is going to take his position, then he'll do something.
Indra.
Indra, Lord Indra.
Indra, right? So Indra, the demigod. So he's very much attached to his position and he feels threatened like that, right? So in this particular chapter,
Mataji, can we say that Duryodhan was also very attached to his means his kingdom, and he never wanted to even share with his cousins.
super attached.
Super attached.
Yeah, super attached, right? And kids get attached to their toys, right?
Yeah.
They won't give it to anybody. Yeah, so this particular chapter number 7, is actually taking a quantum leap. It's a big leap that Kṛṣṇa is taking from chapter 6, where he was talking about Dhyana Yoga. In the end of the chapter, he brings in Bhakti Yoga, right? And what was the word? He said, how do you do Bhakti Yoga? There was a word.
Shraddha-vaN bhajte.
Shraddha-vaN, right? So I said, it was like, do it with Shraddha. Now let's look at today's words and see what is he saying today.
Maya āsakta-manāḥ pārtha.
Here, from this, please construct a statement. Can you hear me?
Off
Yes,
and
Mataji.
on, Mataji.
Okay. So I'm saying mayy āsakta-manāḥ pārtha. Can you construct a statement telling me what does it mean?
O son of Pṛthā,
Pṛthā.
Pṛthā.
Fix your Pṛthā.
Not Pṛthā. Pṛthā. Yeah.
Pṛthā. Fix your mind on me.
Yeah. With your mind attached to me. So the word that is used here is āsakti. Right?
Yeah.
So
Get your mind attached to me.
Attached to me, right? And so as we progress in our devotional service, and we have done that several times, right? So we talked about 9 processes of devotional service, right? 9 ways in which you can do devotional service, which were Shravanam,
Shravanam,
Kirtanam,
Kirtanam,
etc.
Smaranam,
etc.
Vishnu Smaranam,
Right.
Archanam,
Artsevanam,
Vandanam,
Archanavandanam,
Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedana.
Atmanivedana.
Correct, for 500 points, right? So those are the 9 processes. Now you could use any of these processes, okay? You can use any of these processes, and for every yuga, a particular process is usually recommended. And for this yuga, what is the process that is recommended?
Sankirtan.
Chanting.
Right.
Chanting.
Chanting. Kirtanam, Shravanam, Kirtanam. Like that, hear and chant. So you can be using any of these processes, and using these processes, you could progress in devotional service, and you could be at different stages of devotional service, right? Like when we were talking about yoga in the last chapter, we were talking about 2 stages, right? Of Dhyana Yoga. What were the 2 stages? You don't know it.
The
2 stages.
beginning,
What's the beginner called? Yoga?
Yoga Rudha.
Ruda and Ruda Ruksha.
Yeah, Yoga Rukshu means one who is
Rukshu.
yeah, one who's moving towards the ladder is junior.
Towards that.
Yoga Rukshu, and
Yoga
Yoga
Ruksha.
Aru means one who has climbed on the step of
Yoga
One who has reached the highest.
is the highest goal.
progress,
Ladder.
because it's a ladder. So there are stages, there are 9 stages in your devotional service, which are listed, and we have talked about that, but I just thought that might not be a bad idea to do a quick recap of that, right? So before I go there, I'll just ask you a quick question, that what do you think is the ultimate goal of our life?
To get the love of
To
Godhead.
go,
To be
to
Krishna
go back to
conscious
God.
all the time.
What is the ultimate goal? I heard some answers. The first answer was to get love of Kṛṣṇa. The second answer I heard was to go back to Golok Vrindavan. And there was a third muffled answer which I did not hear.
To be Krishna consciousness all the time.
All the time. Okay, to be Krishna conscious all the time. Right? So what do you think should be the goal out of these 3 goals?
Just to
Yes,
adjust your mind to Kṛṣṇa.
Huh?
To never take birth again.
No, 3 goals only. No other allowed.
Love of Kṛṣṇa. Love of Kṛṣṇa.
Love of Kṛṣṇa. Right? When we say that I want to go back to Golok Vrindavan, a question could be, why do you want to go back to Golok Vrindavan? Like, I love him, so I want to go there, right? So what's your problem with loving him from here? Could be asked. That question could be asked, right? So when I'm saying I want to go there, the sentence is starting, I want.
I know.
So there's a little flavor of, there's something that I want. But in pure devotional service, I don't want anything. Vasudeva parasarve na kutasya bhivyati swarg apavarg narkeshu atha tulyat darshana. That whether a person who's a devotee of the Lord, it doesn't matter to him whether he's in Swarg Loka, he's in Narak Loka. All that he wants is to do devotional service. Because devotional service itself is so enjoyable, right? That this Swarg and Apvarg and all that are material concepts, right? That I'm in Swarg, I'm in Narak, I'm in hell, I'm in heaven. These are material concepts, but devotional service is beyond that, right? So the goal of human life is to get love of God.
Devotion.
My goal of life at the moment is to chant the holy name without any distraction.
And why?
That is what I feel, because I get distracted very soon these days,
So
Mataji.
why is the distraction not good? Why do you want to chant without distractions? You have to go to the root cause. Why do you want to do that? Why should I chant?
Because I always hear from Shri Guru Maharaj that he says that in the make japa great, in that concentrate and chant, concentrate on every syllable, listen to it properly. But then, see,
But why does he say that?
it
And
gives
even if he
it will
says
give
that,
it will give pleasure to Kṛṣṇa that my bhakta is chanting my holy name carefully. And if I'm distracted, naturally, he will not be happy with me.
and why do you want to make Kṛṣṇa happy?
Because I love him.
So what is the ultimate goal of life?
The love of Kṛṣṇa.
Love of Kṛṣṇa. So you see, whatever you are doing are things that are going to ultimately culminate in love of Kṛṣṇa, right?
Mataji,
And
one
then,
more thing, like Varshanam, when you asked Varshanam Mataji, why you don't want to get distracted? I think that the attachments are there. If we cannot clean our mind, the attachments or come out from the attachments, that will be bad. Because when we will leave the world, if we have the attachment, then we have to come back ultimately again. If we have the desires or attachments. I don't know whether I answered right.
yes, it's a valid point in support of what we are saying and in support of the verse today.
I couldn't hear Sutapa Mataji clearly. What did she say?
Oh, you were not able to hear Sutapa Mataji. Sutapa Mataji, would you want to summarize what you said?
Mataji, I told that why you want to chant properly means you don't want to get distracted because our minds, if our minds will go here and there, then the attachment will be there. So we cannot go back to, if we are not get rid of the desire, so we have to come back again, which we don't want.
True. Right.
So the point
At
to know,
times I feel, Mataji, I don't mind coming back, but I should always be chanting the holy name.
correct.
No marriage, no children, no nothing.
It doesn't
I don't want
matter. Marriage and
anything.
children or no children are not bad. You have to be, and even see, Prahlad Maharaj did not say this and that and this and that. He was born in a demon family. And he was doing devotees. So what I'm saying is
his level and our level is very different.
Yeah, so that is what you should aim. We are talking about goals here, right? What should be our goal in life? So the ultimate goal in life is to have love for Kṛṣṇa. And what I'm trying to emphasize here is not an easy thing. It's not a simple thing. I love Kṛṣṇa. So if you love Kṛṣṇa, if there's a knock on your door and Kṛṣṇa says, come with me, are you going to go with him?
Yes.
Or we'll say, wait a minute, Kṛṣṇa.
No.
I need to serve.
Absolutely.
It is very, to me,
No,
it is
Mataji,
hard.
because when you are living in a family, it's sometimes it's really miserable. It's very difficult to handle. So who will go right away?
Sometimes we think like that. But somewhere we have to see that I want to go away because I want to get rid of the situation, or I want to go away because I love Kṛṣṇa and he's there. Right? So it's a subject of very deep thought.
Yeah.
And so saying that I love Kṛṣṇa is not, it's a very tall statement. Very, very tall statement. And at the time of death, all our attachments come to the fore. And it will be very lucky if we can remember Kṛṣṇa. And that's why we need devotees to surround us when we are dying. At least they will chant and something will get into the head. Madhav Sangini Mataji raised her hands.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I have recently, it's about 2 weeks, I have joined the morning. There's another group. It was created by Shyam Sundar Prabhu. So 5:30 in the morning is just chanting. So I
Others
try.
are able to hear her?
Yeah,
God.
yeah, we
Oh.
can.
Okay. Okay,
So
good.
I joined that group, and every
Okay.
day I try to join them at 5:30 in the morning. And for 5 minutes, it's very similar to making japa great again. So for 5 minutes, they read, somebody reads. So it's not the same devotee. There are different devotees who would read just for 5 minutes. And we have had some guests, some acharyas who are special guests who have come, and they have come there and talked about chanting. And to me, it's very, very helpful. When I was chanting alone, I can compare when I was chanting alone and when I'm chanting now with them, it is a big difference. And like you said, it's not easy to, even while chanting with, this is the only way I feel like I'm chanting with the devotees, because otherwise it was very hard. I do chant, but my mind goes everywhere. But even with chanting with devotees, my mind does go places, but it comes back. It is getting better. And I feel like it will take me a long, long time to fully concentrate only on Krishna. But it's really, really helping me chanting with. So there are about 25, sometimes 30 devotees there chanting at 5:30. So one day I couldn't sleep. So I said, let me just go and see if what that group is doing. And there were people chanting there before 5:30. So it's set up in such a way that people, other devotees can just go and open it. And I thought I was just early and wait for them. And the chanting was already going on, and it felt so good, so good. So every night I'm trying to make my sleep a little bit better so I can wake up better. I'm still working on it because a lot of times I have a hard time uh, falling asleep or being sleepy. So when it's about time to wake up, it's hardest for me to wake up. But this group is the best thing for me that has happened. And I look forward to it Monday to Friday.
Mataji, is it 5:30 of your time?
Yeah, standard our time, 5:30 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
And it still goes till 7 o'clock. And sometimes I join them late. So there are people devotees who sometimes join. I have missed few days. So there are times I have joined maybe 6:30. But I just look forward to that reading of 5 minutes. It just makes a big, big difference.
Mataji, will you post that?
Yeah, because
Please?
I will forward it to this group, that group, yeah. And I see some names that I'm familiar with. So I go, oh my God, I'm so happy to see those names.
Thank you, Mataji.
I'll forward it to you. Should I forward it to this Bhakti group, that link?
You can.
Let me have a look at that first, right? I just want to make sure that we are following the parampara. If you're
Okay.
finding familiar names, that's
It
fantastic.
is
Yeah.
Shyama Rupa Prabhu from ISKCON, Silicon Valley.
Oh, yes.
He's the one who created
Yes,
this.
please
So
send.
there are
Yeah.
many
You
devotees
can share.
names I recognize.
Yeah.
And then
You
there
can
were
share.
Acharya Gurus Maharajas who came for special speech. Two of them
Right.
were there actually
Awesome.
last week.
Okay. Yes. Yes, you can share if it's from Shyamrupa Prabhu.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Okay.
So in this verse, it is about śṛṇu, to listen. Right? So Krishna is talking about listening, and he's saying, now I'm going to tell you. Right? You listen about me, and then by listening about him, one of the things that you do in chanting is to chant and listen to him, right? But the other things also that you listen. Okay. So I was saying that in this particular chapter, Krishna is making a quantum leap from chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, where he's talking about Shraddha-devi. And then here he's saying mayy āsakta. Right? Asakta means attachment. So from faith to attachment is a very big leap. And I want to just tell you that how big that leap is. Okay. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we find the 9 stages of devotional service. So the first one in chapter 6 is Shraddha, which is the first stage. And Asakti is the 7th stage over there. So Adau Shraddha, Tatha Sadhu Sango, Tha Bhajana Kriya, Tato Nartha Nivartisya, Tato Nishta
Nishta
Ruchisya.
Ruchi.
Right? And after that, oops. Tatha asaktis. So here comes. Tatha asaktis. Tatha tato bhavas. Tatha premadhyudhanchati. Sadhakanam ayam premna padur bhave bhavet kramaha. So kramaha means step by step. So what this verse is saying is that step by step, this process is going to go. First, you will have adhau shraddha, tatha sadhu sangha. Right? So the first thing is shraddha, which is where you place your heart. Right? First, you have to have faith in Kṛṣṇa. Right? Faith in devotional service, in the process of devotional service. So that's the first step. And I'm trying to move, right? And we have talked about stages of Shraddha. There is a Komal Shraddha stage, right? And the second stage is where you have very Balwan Shraddha, second stage, right? Which is basically that like a banyan tree, like a banana tree. You can sway it here and there. And strong Shraddha is like a banyan tree. You cannot push it or you cannot move it, right? Stages of Shraddha, the first stage, right? So Adhav Shraddha. Sorry, my internet connection is very bad. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm glad. I'm not able to move my laptop. So I don't know why. Again, too much on it. Okay. Then Adhav Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. So Sadhu Sangha is that you will preach, take association. Like Madhav Sangini Mataji now gets Sadhu Sangha at 5:30 in the morning, her time, right? And you can see the impact that Sadhu Sangha is having. The very fact that she has to get up in the morning, she's now going to sleep on time in the night, which she was having trouble facing. So what happens with Sadhu Sangha is that when you are associating with people, you get the qualities of those people. So like an iron rod, if you put it in fire, it becomes like fire. Okay. So that is Sadhu Sangha. Then Adhav Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Tatha Bhajana Kriya. So Bhajana Kriya, what happens is then you start seeing these sadhus, they work in and operate in a particular manner. So you then start working like that and say, oh, that person got initiated. I should also get initiated. I should also take shelter of a spiritual master. So that is the next stage that is there. Sorry. Then after you take shelter, then there is anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti is like, and then we also saw that hidayantasto hi abhadrani. We read that in the śrī-bhagavān verses. So anartha nivritti is all the anarthas that are in your mind, they are going to get cleared. And the anarthas are all these nonsense thoughts that come into your mind. So how do they go away? How does this anartha nivritti happen? So anartha nivritti, one of the ways of happening, and that's what Kṛṣṇa is saying in today's verse, tat chṛṇu. Right? So if you listen to Kṛṣṇa Katha, if you listen to those words, there are higher chances that your thoughts will also be around those only. What you heard in the class, you will think about it later, right? If we discuss Bollywood here today, then after the class is over, you'll think about Bollywood, right? If you talk about Kṛṣṇa, you'll think about Kṛṣṇa. So you substitute the thoughts, all the black thoughts, bad thoughts are substituted by white thoughts, which are Kṛṣṇa's thoughts. That's anartha nivritti, right? And then comes the next stage, which is nishtha. So nishtha is that I am now becoming determined in my activities, right? Like Prahlad Maharaj was very nisht, right? He would do his devotional service no matter where he was, he would do his devotional service. Right? So when you have nishtha, you have determination, then you will be doing your steady practice, will be doing very, very steadily. Right? And Vaisheshika Prabhu always says that if you don't do your practice, and this is a famous violin, if I don't is that how do I develop nishtha? How do I get that thing, right? So for that, you have to do study. That is why we do shastra. So it's not, otherwise there's always confusion that, is it important for me to listen to all these books and read all these books? But you always say that gyan is not the ultimate thing. You have to get bhakti, so why not bhakti? But you need some gyan. You need to study the scriptures to make us study and study, because only when you have gyan about who Kṛṣṇa is, then your bhakti, you'll be more entitled, and your nishtha will develop to go and do devotional service, right? And so once you have got that nishtha inside you, right, that you're strong inside because of the scriptures that you have read, because of the association that you're doing to, because of the cleansing that is happening in your heart. So because you are strong internally, you will be able to stand strong externally also. So keep that in mind as to going towards nishtha. Then there is ruchi. Ruchi is that you have developed a taste for doing
Taste, yeah.
Right? You like doing it. Sunday jate maza aata hai. Prasadam sounds more tasty for it, right? So ruchi is you have got a strong taste for devotional service. Right? So now, very interesting thing. There are two types of taste that you can have. I can say that, I love listening to kirtan. So the first type of, I have a taste for listening to kirtan is vastu vasistya apekshani. So what is the apekshani? I have some expectation. That is, I will wait for certain specific requirements to be complete. And then I will enjoy it. For example, I like kirtan, but only when such and such a person sings it, or it is sung flawlessly with beautiful sound. There should be music next to it. The audio system should be perfect. Then I'm going to enjoy Krishna Katha, right? And the other one is when it is anapekshani, it doesn't expect all these things. So, you will just hear and you'll relish anybody and everybody who is singing it. Whether he's a Sanskrit scholar, she's a Sanskrit scholar, she's singing beautifully, he's not singing beautifully, so on and so forth. It doesn't matter. All that you're focused on, your taste is for the glorification of Krishna and not the enjoyment that you have in your ear. So anywhere anybody is glorifying Krishna, you love it. Mat-chitta mad-gata prana, right? So you are just listening to that. And that seventh stage, which Krishna is saying, mayy āsakta-manāḥ pārtha. So he's saying you put your attachment towards, become asakt to me. So asakti means attachment. So here what happens is that you first have taste, right? That's the progress, 9 steps of devotional service. So you have got ruchi, you've got develop a taste, and then as your taste ripens, as your taste becomes anapekshani, you do not expect anything, but you still enjoy that. Whether rain or shine, there is hot or cold, doesn't matter. I'm going to listen to Krishna Katha, right? Then as your ruchi is going to ripen, then the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes devotees' only object of worship and meditation. And this stage is known as asakti, or stage of action. So it is a ripen. A ruchi that we have is a means to perfection, right? The perfection is not there yet. It's just a means to perfection where asakti is the goal. My goal is that I should get attached to him. And then the means is that, I have to develop a taste for it. It's a means of doing that, but my object is asakti. I should get that, right? So when you are in the early stages, there's a lot of lamentation. A devotee will do like, oh, I'm under heavy siege of materialistic life. Oh, my children are giving grief. Oh, this is happening. Oh, how can with all these distractions, how can I bring my heart? How can I do devotional service to the Supreme Lord? So early stages of ruchi, the person will say, oh, yeah, they don't sing the kirtan properly. Oh, temple is so far. All those things are happening in the ruchi stage, right? But then when ruchi is going to develop into asakti, right? Before he even attempts to say that I'm in this material world, I've got this and that, he's already attached to the Lord, right? He doesn't have to even attempt such a prayer. It'll come naturally to him. So all that he's doing will come effortlessly to us. I mean, you can remember 10 years ago how difficult it was for us to even read Sanskrit. even to get up in the morning. And now people want to get up at 5:30, which means before 5:30 to attend a class on japa, right? So like that. So I want to spend some time here to think over that our entanglement in this material world is because of our detachment and not our attachment. Now, this is completely opposite to what we have been talking all along, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we say you get entangled. We read those śrī-mad-bhagavatam verses also, which said that vidyate hridayagantis. Hridayagantis is tiny knots of attachment, and we have to break those attachments. But this is a trick way of emphasizing something. He's saying that we get entangled in this material world, not because we are attached to material things, but because we are detached from Kṛṣṇa. You see? That if you are attached to Kṛṣṇa, material world cannot do anything because material world is under maya dhakhyena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Prakriti is under Kṛṣṇa. So our problem is not that I'm attached materially. Our bigger problem is that I am not attached to Kṛṣṇa. So I can get detached. I can get detached from material world. I can do that. But if I don't have attachment to Kṛṣṇa, shrama eva hi kevalam, it's useless thing. Right? So it's a very, very powerful.
Hare Krishna.
We can't hear Mataji.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Now,
Really?
yeah.
Right. So in the stage of asakti, which today's verse is saying, that person will see Lord's mercy everywhere. Everywhere. You see something very beautiful, like these deer that you see over here, they run so very fast, and then you say, oh, it's Lord's mercy. Because the deer is such a helpless animal, Lord has given him the speed or to be able to run away when the lion comes after them. Right? So you will start seeing the Lord and his mercy in everything which is possible and which surrounds us in our life. So in today's verse that we are looking at, Kṛṣṇa is talking about very deep, he's talking that, you get attached to me. Mayy āsakta-manāḥ pārtha, yogam, yuñjan, mad-āśrayaḥ. Right? And in this consciousness of me, asaṁśayam. Now that's also very important thing. He's saying asaṁśayam. Asaṁśayam is without any doubt. Right? That's very, very important. You should not have any doubt on Kṛṣṇa. Right? You should have faith in Kṛṣṇa. You should have belief in Kṛṣṇa. Right? So there is belief in Kṛṣṇa, and then there is disbelief. Right? Right? All right. There is belief and disbelief also, right? There are believers and there are non-believers. Now, very interesting thing. Very, very interesting thing that you should, and I want to bring this to your attention here, is that those who don't believe also believe, but in something else.
Else.
Oh,
Right? All right.
Yeah.
Like, I believe in God. I don't believe in God. Oh, but there is God. You see, there's God. So many things. Look at Kṛṣṇa. He lifted God. I don't believe in God. So, but they have a belief that there is no God. So, in this material world, you cannot go without belief. Belief will be there, either in this or in that. Go ahead, Prashara Mataji.
Mataji, one question comes in mind, that I can still give the evidence from the scriptures that God is there, but those who don't believe, what evidence they have that God is not there?
They will tell you, show me. When you go and say God is there, they tell me, show me.
Show me, but the scriptures also tell that we need to have divine eyes to see Kṛṣṇa.
Yeah, it's a story. Yeah, so they'll say, okay, fine, when I get divine eyes, let's continue the conversation. When you get me divine eyes, you have divine eyes? They will say, because they are disbeliever, they will say that, right? Everybody likes to stick to their point as much as you will stick to your point and
Can't hear.
This
Yeah,
or
no
that, right?
sound.
Ah.
Now can hear.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
How
back.
much did you, what was the last thing you heard from me?
The
You were just
disbeliever.
answering to Varshana Mataji's question.
Yeah,
That,
but what last
show
thing
me,
that I said there?
show me, and then you.
Varshana, what was the
Give me the
last thing?
proof that you don't believe.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that they will continue and they will not believe.
Yeah.
Right? They will not so believe. So always remember that even if there is disbelief, there is some sort of a belief which is there underneath it. So you have to remember that belief will be always there. It is not an option whether I believe or not. You have to believe either in Kṛṣṇa or believe in no Kṛṣṇa. Either way,
Yes.
there's no in between
Yeah.
the two. That's what I'm trying to say, that, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Right. So in today's verse, he's saying asaṁśayam. Asaṁśayam means doubts, right? And so doubts are related to belief, right? If you believe, then you don't have any doubts, right? I believe in Kṛṣṇa. I have no doubts about that. But then, doubts do come. Doubts do come to our minds every now and then. We might not admit it, right? Some days we might just think, am I doing everything right? Is this really? What if? So doubting is the nature and the quality of intelligence, right? It's one of the properties of intelligence. So doubting is the property of?
Non-believers.
Yeah, but doubting is the property of mind, mouth, ears, eyes. Doubting is the property of what?
Mind.
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 No,
No.
intelligence.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to test whether you're able to hear me or not by asking these questions because of the sound thing, because I said
No,
that.
no.
I
Heard
have
Yeah.
that.
So doubting is a quality of intelligence. See, remember, mind is just a factory of thoughts. Mind is just a factory of thoughts. It will only create thoughts, and the kind of thoughts it will create depend on the association, depends on the experiences that you expose the mind to. You go and watch a movie tonight. Next day, you'll be thinking about it. Go and watch Krishna Leela. You'll be thinking about, Govardhan Leela or things about that. You'll be thinking about Krishna. So mind is just a factory of thought. Good or bad, whatever you give, it will just, churn something more on top of it. That's all. But then to discriminate and to have doubts like, yeah, this right or not, this discrimination that's going on in the head comes from buddhi, comes from your intelligence. Okay. So if there is doubts that are coming in a mind, the doubts are also, it's a natural thing and it's an okay thing. And it shows that we have intelligence, which is good, right? So we don't want to look like fools, right? We all want to be intelligent, and we are intelligent if we are having doubts there, right? So if we have doubts, all that we are saying is, don't believe in your doubts.
What did you say, Mataji?
Do not believe in your doubts. Doubts
I
will
have a
come.
question.
Yeah. Then the question will be, why do doubts come to me? Doubts are coming. Intelligence is having this doubt, right? For
That means
example,
I don't have firm faith.
yes, but then we are trying to get from firm faith. I'm reading the scriptures, right? So, for example, when I read Śrīmad-bhagavatam, and I'm reading a canto and they come, Narad Muni came and his hair were red in color. Very good. Few cantos down, I read Narad Muni came, his hair was golden in color. Now I have doubt. I have doubt about Bhagavatam itself. What sort of a scripture this is? I don't think it's a story. I think somebody human was writing it. They made a mistake. Should I really believe in Bhagavatam or not? The doubt has come. Right? So as long as we use our intellect to understand why doubts are coming, the doubts come to us because we are in this material world with our limited senses and the facilities that have been given to us. We are trying to understand something which is beyond. So that doubt will come. So as long as we understand that there are limitations even to our intellect, then we will say, okay, this doubt is coming, I'll disbelieve. So one of the things that Srila Prabhupada says in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, it says, can you suspend your disbelief for some time and believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and with that spirit read the Bhagavad Gita. Because he knows that by the end of it, you will really, really begin to believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that, right? So when we have this disbelief, understand that with this knowledge. That's why Gyan is important, to know what exactly is going on in my head. Why are these doubts coming into my mind? To understand that I have limited knowledge. So when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, and when you come across Narad Muni having red hair versus Narad Muni having yellow hair, we should not be saying that there's something wrong with the scriptures. We should be thinking there's something wrong with me that I'm not able to understand. And that is where the guru steps into your life to explain these things to you. So you go and ask the guru, and the guru will tell you that, look here, these stories that are narrated in Srimad Bhagavatam are coming from different cycles of Kali Yuga, Satyuga. The cycles are there. So in one cycle of Kali Yuga, Narad, which is a post, well, that post was occupied by somebody maybe from Germany who had red hair. And the next story is from a different time, different yuga, different kalpa. And at that time, Narad, the person who was occupying the post of Narad, had golden hair. So it is right. You see? So a person with limited knowledge can have doubts on the same thing, but as you raise your elevation, as your consciousness gets elevated, then Krishna grants you that power. In the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that's what he says, right? Right? Where he says, those who worship me with faith, right? And devotion. I grant them the intelligence by which they come to me.
They can come to me.
Right? So Krishna will do that. So that is why the doubts, but he now in this verse, today's verse, he's saying asaṁśayam.
Without any doubts.
Without any doubts. And so these doubts will go away from practice, from sadhu sangha, from cleansing of the mind. And also for us to keep on understanding ourselves that I have got I've got instruments which have got limited capability. Okay. So when doubts are coming, you just disbelieve in the doubts. That no, I'm doubting Srimad Bhagavatam. I should not do it. I will rather park it in my parking lot, and at a suitable time, I'll ask someone in the parampara to clear my doubts. Right? And that's what Arjuna is doing. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he's doing the same thing, right? So here, he is, Krishna has taken a quantum leap. From Shraddha, he's saying, mayy āsakta-manāḥ pārtha. So it's not just, we'll flip a page and then from Shraddha, we'll go to Asakti. There's going to be a lot of practice. And those practices are coming in those 9 stages of devotional service. Ādau, Shraddha, Tatra, Sadhu, Sangha.
Can't hear you, Mata.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, now we can hear.
No,
Okay.
no,
I have a question, Mataji.
we can hear.
Yeah, I think Madhav Sangini has a question, or she raised her hand, or is it an old hand?
No, I raised a hand.
He raised a hand. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if I understood you correctly when you said Krishna consciousness is due to not attachment but disattachment or something like that.
No,
So,
no.
Oh, yeah.
No. I do not say Krishna consciousness.
Oh. Yeah.
I
Okay.
blame it on the sound system. Yeah, I said entanglement in the material world.
Yeah. Entanglement.
Entangle in the material world is not because of our attachment to material objects. It is because of our detachment.
Detachment to Krishna.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you get attached to Krishna, then material world and the objects in it cannot do anything. And when you get attached to Krishna, you get attached to everything in the material world in a very different sort of way. See, right now I'm only attached to my child.
Yeah.
My child, my home, my this, my that. But when you get attached to Krishna, now you start looking at Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Kaswapake Cha Pandita Samadarshana. So once you get that, when you reach that stage, then you start seeing Kṛṣṇa in everybody. So then what does that mean, my child and your child? You love all of them.
Yeah.
Vasudev Kutumbakam.
So is it okay to, when we do our regular material things, the jobs, the house work and doing whatever we are doing, can we, if I remember, for me, I cannot remember all the time. I'm still working towards it. Is it okay to think whenever, okay, I'm doing this for Kṛṣṇa, I'm doing this for Kṛṣṇa, all the activities that I do, that's in the material world. So is it okay then to say, okay, Kṛṣṇa, I'm doing this for you?
More than saying I'm doing Kṛṣṇa, I'm doing this for you, because we can say that mechanically.
Yeah.
Right? We have to have that conviction and the understanding.
Mm.
And the understanding and the connection. Like Kṛṣṇa conscious doesn't mean that we abandon our family, abandon our kids, throw them
Right.
out of the street and sit and chant 16 rounds, 64
Mm.
rounds, 128 rounds. That's not it. That's not what Prabhupada
Right.
says, right? So now you have to see, I am going to go and do the work.
Right.
I have to earn money, which means I won't have time to chant for some hours in the day.
Mm.
And will prevent me from becoming Haridas Thakur Ramacharya, who chanted 16 hours, 20 hours a day.
Mm.
I can't do that because I'm working. So then the question is, why are you working? Okay, right? I'm working for my kid. Okay, so why are you working for your kid? I want to send your kid to a school. Why do you want to send the kid to a school? I want to send him to a good school. Why do you want to send the child to a good school, right? So then comes the question that
Can't hear you, Mataji.
Cannot hear you.
Lost the voice.
uh-oh. Can you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
no.
you are back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the last?
Then the question comes back.
Why do you want to send your child to school?
Yeah, then the question is, why do you want to send the child to a good school? Right? Then the question will be, yeah. Why do I want to send the child to a good school? Right? Why do you want to send the child to a good school? So then you will, that time you'll make balance and decisions. Okay, I want to send the child to a good school because they talk about God in that school. Or he will pick up better habits in that school rather than sending him off to another school. So there should always be some element of Kṛṣṇa consciousness in all your decisions that you make in life, right? And the moment you connect that activity with Kṛṣṇa, it's okay if you have to work really hard at that work because you're doing it for Kṛṣṇa, right? And again, remember that even if you have to do some material work in your life, it's okay. And the best way to think about Kṛṣṇa, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
The best way to think about Kṛṣṇa all the time is to leave the results to Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa consciousness doesn't necessarily mean that all the time I'm doing Hare Krishna, right? That there is a consciousness of Kṛṣṇa all the time, right? For example, I have to tell you something very interesting. So I had an Apple laptop I purchased quite some time ago. And I really wanted to go to Apple because my Guru Maharaj had recommended that go to Apple. It's much better for the kind of seva I was doing for him. I purchased it. It was very expensive. And it had a bad keyboard. I could not type. It broke. And most important, keys would not work. And so I went to Apple. They said, oh, this is under warranty. We'll replace it. They replaced it. After some time, the computer was out of warranty. It still didn't work. So I abandoned it. I purchased another one and then I left. Like that. Now, a couple of days ago, I got a check in my email, in my mail. Somebody had filed a class action lawsuit against Apple. That they had a model, the keyboard was bad. So I got a check for some dollars, right? And the funny thing was that because that laptop was purchased for my personal reason, one of the devotees at the temple who was helping me set up the laptop, he said, oh, I'll register it in the name of Shraddha-devi Dasi. So guess what? The check came in the name of Shraddha-devi Dasi. So I was like, oh my goodness. And my husband, who works in a bank, was like, oh.
Were you able to cash it?
Lost your voice, Mataji.
Yes.
Can't hear you.
Can't
Now.
hear you.
Now.
Yes.
Now.
Yes, you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine
yeah.
the network goes down when I'm just about to tell you the climax of the story.
Yeah.
So I just told my husband that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If Krishna wants, I will get it, even if the check comes in the name of Shraddha-devi Dasi, right?
Yeah.
And the bank honored it,
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
So you have to bring Krishna in every decision. Don't get too worked up. Don't get too worked up with that. And I just go back and see that, that laptop was purchased for devotional purposes. It went mad because of the material circumstances.
Yeah.
I went on purchase another laptop to continue the seva. And then Krishna, whoever came and said, okay, you deserve a little check. But by the way, I'm going to put it, life is full of that. Life is all full of that. So just keep your focus on Krishna all the time. That is Krishna consciousness. Every decision that you take, right? And I was, my husband keeps on sending me these clips. This clip was somebody is saying that, do you know what is Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness is that when your spouse says something to you bad, and you're about to respond, think that Krishna is standing right next to you, and now respond.
Nice one. Nice one.
Just think that in everything is Krishna, right? When you open the fridge and you take out the ice cream for the second time in the night, then you say, yuktahara viharasya. Yuktahara, Krishna says. Krishna is right next to me. That is Krishna consciousness. So on that note, should we call it a day?
I had one question, Mansi.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. You had a question too. Yeah,
It's not totally related, but somewhat. So, you know how Krishna says that you can worship all the demigods, whatever, but they are all under my control, right? So why not just worship me? And then in India, it's like in Mahashivratri and all, lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of people go to the Shiva thing and they worship and all, which is fine. But then how they word it over there is, oh, he is a Shiv Bhakt, or he is this Bhakt. They don't say that he is a Krishna Bhakt. And when they are a Krishna Bhakt, say, oh yeah, he is a big believer of Krishna, so he's a Krishna Bhakt. But shouldn't it all be under, like, all of them are also under Krishna, so shouldn't all of them just be worshipping Krishna?
Yes, and Krishna says that bhajatam avadhi purvakam, that those who worship the demigods are actually worshipping me only, because whatever worship that you give offer to Krishna, to the demigods, they are obligated to give it to Krishna.
But they don't know that. The people who are worshipping Shiva don't know that. That's the
Yes.
irony of it.
Yes, that's the irony, and you are in the right chapter to understand that. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino Arjuna.
Bhajante mam.
So the question then is that why do we have such a majority, especially in
Yeah.
Kali Yuga, right? Why do we have such a majority? And the reason for that is demigods have got powers and they're able to grant your material wishes very quickly.
Oh yeah, the
And most of the people
material
are going-
wishes.
Yeah, so most of the people are going for quick material wishes. And Krishna said, that's fine. I have arranged it that way, that you'll worship the demigods and then, or, after the demigod, like Shiva. There's a big thing about who's big, Shiva or Krishna, Shiva or Krishna. If you read the Bhagavatam, we revere Shiva as Vaishnavanam yathā Shambhu. He is the best of the
greatest. Yeah.
Right? So we can go and worship Shiva, but the mood and what is happening inside you has to be different. I am not worshiping Krishna to get a beautiful husband, which you already got, but because he is a devotee of the Lord. Right? And the best thing to do is to hold the feet of a dasan who does. So I'm worshiping, or I can even worship Ganesh.
Yeah,
Ganesh removes
I know.
obstacles, right? I can worship Ganesh. Please remove obstacles in my devotional service. And remember, they are devotees of Krishna. See, I started worshiping Hanuman. I memorized
So
Hanuman.
that's what I was to say. In India, everyone will say, oh, today is Saturday, we have to go to Hanuman temple. Oh, today is this, we have to go to Shiva temple. No one will say we have to go to Krishna temple.
There are,
Hardly
come on, you're
anybody.
from Gujarat, Mataji, half of Gujarat.
I know. So no,
90%
I'm not
Gujarat
talking
is
only
Krishna.
of my family of Gujaratis. We all go to Srinathji. It's not that, but the majority of Indians don't say Krishna Bhakt.
And
I
that's
don't know if
fine.
you've noticed it.
That's fine. That's fine. Everybody is standing on a different rung of the yoga ladder. They have to take their own time, right? And how can you impact them is by distributing prasadam. Because arguing with them, trying to convince them, telling them glories of Kṛṣṇa is not going to work.
Yeah, I know
Prasadam
that.
is our secret weapon.
Mhm. I talk to my cousin every now and then. She's in England, and she knows about ISKCON, but she doesn't go. She doesn't follow it. But as an Indian person, she knows obviously Kṛṣṇa. So, but when she talks to me about Kṛṣṇa and like what I know through ISKCON, for example, and it's very hard for me to explain because she's not able to hear what I say. So like when somebody dies, you know how in Krishna consciousness we ask other devotees to pray for us, pray for them, because Krishna loves his devotees so much that he can help the person who's sick or who's going through a hard time. But my cousin, it's so hard for me to explain this simple thing to her. She keeps on saying, and she's so aggressive about it. Oh, nobody can do anything about it. This person's own karma is it. That's it. Nobody can do anything about it. And then she says she loves Kṛṣṇa so much. Her grandson's name is Arjun and her son's name is Shyam. She goes, oh, I have got Shyam in my family. I have got Arjun in my family, and I'm happy for her. I know she loves Kṛṣṇa, but she loves other deities just as she doesn't know the difference. That's what I perceive.
But that's in India, a lot of things. Everyone worships a lot of deities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she starts
What is the positive that you see? So couple of words that I caught from your narration. One was you said she's not willing to listen. What is Kṛṣṇa saying in today's verse?
That's śṛṇu.
That's śṛṇu.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's very difficult to hear because I talked about that. They have doubts. They don't have, I talked about faith, levels of faith, right? That Shraddha is komal. Today, Kṛṣṇa. Tomorrow you say, oh, no, but there is this one also. Oh, yeah. Let me worship this one also. Oh, but what about that Devi who appeared in that mountain? Oh, yeah. The faith is going here and there. You understand that philosophically, Mother Sangini Mataji. So when you look at that in a objective manner and not in a subjective manner that my cousin is doing like that, then it'll stop to agitate you. That behavior will stop to agitate you. You'll only have compassion. But you remember, if you have faith in Kṛṣṇa, then you can pray to Kṛṣṇa for your cousin. There's nothing stopping you.
Oh, okay.
And if you have faith that Kṛṣṇa will really change her, Kṛṣṇa will change her. Because that's your faith in Kṛṣṇa and it'll work. Right? So that's why I say everything begins from us.
Oh, okay.
Everything begins from us, right? And so we don't argue. And also remember, Mataji, that people tend not to listen to their family members.
Yeah.
They tend not to listen. So, but you can pray that somebody else will come, somebody will give them a Bhagavad Gita, and they have to take their own time. And Prabhupada says that also everyone remember, and this is a verse that I always like to quote, which is Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, Sadhyo Kabhi Naay, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Koriye Udoy. So what it means is that this love of Krishna Prem, right? Which we
Can't hear.
Can't hear you, Mataji.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like
we
that
can hear.
Verizon.
It's never happened so many times before.
Yeah, today it must be exceptionally bad, the network, right? We had a power outage in where I live last week, and after that, something happened to their thing, right? Since Monday, it has been bad. Sunday, we lost power. So anyway, yeah. So I was saying, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, Sadhyo Kabhi Noy, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Koriye Udoy. So what it means is that this love of God, which you all said is the prime goal of mankind, right? Prema pumarto mahan is the ultimate goal of mankind, is to give love, is something that you cannot make as a goal. See, there we are saying make it as a goal. So the way the teacher talks also will depend on the different level of the student. In the beginning, the teacher will say, make it a goal, make it a goal. As you progress more and go deeper into the philosophy and understand the scripture is saying, you cannot make it a goal. Like, why? Like 20 years you told me to make it a goal. Now you're telling me not to make it a goal. What exactly is going on? Well, the thing is, you already have it. You are wired to be like that. Every soul is a devotee of Kṛṣṇa. So what is the concept of making it as a goal? All that you have to do is remove the layers and layers and layers of material things that are there on us. So when your cousin is doing all these things which you think are nonsense, she will be on her path. She will do it, right? But in your heart, you think of her as a raw mango and will take time to ripe. A mango is still a mango, whether raw or whether ripe. Okay? It takes time to ripen it. The only thing that you can pray is that, Kṛṣṇa, I know you have so many ways of ripening a mango. Ripen it in a softer way for my cousin.
Mataji, which verse is this that you just said?
Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, it's
Yeah.
on Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'll have to look it up. I don't remember the number.
Okay.
Yeah, I can look at Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhi Noy, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Kori Yoda. If I Google also, you'll find, yeah. So I think must be Madhya Leela somewhere in the 19th chapter, or where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving to Sanatana Goswami, somewhere over there, or could be elsewhere as well. So Madhav Sangini, yeah, so we will be surrounded by people. We will be minority. We will be in the minority. It's also understood, right, and expected. This is Kali Yuga, right? And things will die down. It will die down. That's why we say in the short span of life, get into Krishna consciousness and, achieve perfection. Krishna Prema. Like that. Any other questions? Any other prashna hai? Koi aur prashna hai? Or all questions are gone, no doubts remain. Asaṁśayaṁ. Samagram. No doubts, right? So we might take the Bhagavad Gita as very casually and small verses, easy verses, but really, 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 each verse, when Kṛṣṇa is saying, it's a whole journey. From chapter 6 to chapter 7, we jump from Shraddha-devi to asaṁśayaṁ, but for us in life, it might take decades. Really in practical life to move from the stage of 6.47 to 7.1. And that's expected. That's okay. As long as you do bhakti, then bhakti in itself is a reward.
Now, basically, the devotional part has started.
Yes.
The cream of Bhagavad Gita.
Cream de la cream has started. And that's why, because we are in this important chapter, and chapters continue, our prayer should always be to the Lordship that please bless us, that we understand and inculcate whatever you're teaching us in these 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Like that. Om Tat Sat, or Om Tato Sato, as Vaishnav Prabhu says, they say in Japan. Om Tato Sato. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavnebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Gaur Premanande. Thank you so
Hari
much, Shraddha Mataji, for the best class ever.
Thank you so much,
Even with
Mataji.
all the mishaps.
Even with all the mishaps.
Yes.
See, this is what devotional service is, that you tend to ignore the mishaps.
Ignore,
So once you are
Yeah.
in devotional service, whatever is happening in the life, I don't care.
Yeah. Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.